and welcome to the Warmness Machine podcast. My name is Lindsay, and this is a fiber arts podcast. I'm a crocheter, a knitter, and a spinner, and today's episode is a continuation in a series called About Yarn, where I talk about the details of yarn that can help you make a better garment or just nerd out with me about yarn. So today's episode will be about twist. My sweet little puppy, who's actually 12 years old, is asleep over there. If I say her name, she'll wake up. But if you hear her sleeping, just know that this is a very calm and inviting space. And welcome. We are going to look at some commercial yarn. We are going to look at some hand spun yarn. We're also going to take a look at my wheel, which I have right here, and look at some twist. And we're going to discuss some of the ways that that twist can affect the final yarn and therefore the final object. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay. So we are set up at our wheel. I have my leader ready and I have my fiber. This is Shetland wool that I got from the woolery not too long ago, maybe a couple years ago. And I'm going to just spin some loosely spun singles. Clearly super duper loose, right? Because they weren't twist locked. Oh, also my tension is exceptionally high. So if we look at this, if I twist it together, that's what we have. Okay, so now I'm going to do a low singles twist, which means the single will be very loose, but we can ply it hard. Okay. So this is our hard ply for that. We plied this tighter than we spun the single. So now let's do a high twist with a soft ply, which is just what I say. Now we are going to do a high twist single with a high or hard ply. And these are just things I call it. Okay. So although I messed that up, this is what we have. And now let's look at them compared to each other. Okay, let's look at our examples compared side by side. I put them down on a little piece of paper so that we know. And we'll start with the low twist single with a soft ply. And both of these are soft ply, and I'm using that word because that's the word that helps me remember whether I'm adding more twist or less twist. So the low twist single is a very soft, bouncy yarn. And when it's plied softly, it just gives you a very soft, little soft yarn right there. Very, very airy, very light. This is a high twist single with a soft ply. It is soft, but we can feel the hardness in between them, and we can see that it's not as soft as the low twist single. Compare that with a low twist single and a hard ply. Again, hard meaning more twist added. And these are just words that I use to help me remember. We can see that the low twist single is still soft. And even though we added more twist in the plying, it's still super duper soft and much more airy than the hard twist single that's softly plied. And then if we look down here, we have a high twist single with a hard ply. That means there's a lot of twist in the single and a lot of twist in the ply. And that is just a denser yarn and probably just a little bit more durable than all the rest of these. So let me just zoom out and we can kind of see how all of that is working for us. So low twist single soft ply, high twist single soft ply. These seem to be a little bit closer together because the singles are more similar, and these seem to be more similar because of their similarity in the singles. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, now let's look at some commercial yarns. Okay, so I have 3 commercial yarns here. They're made out of different material, but primarily they're made out of wool. This is a superwash sock yarn that a lot of independent dyers are using. And it's got a little bit of a pull. You know, we know that there's probably 70% wool, 70 to 80% wool, and 20% nylon in this yarn. And it is a 2-ply yarn. This is 70% wool and 30% silk, and we can see that it's also a 2-ply yarn. So yeah, I'm guessing it's 2-ply because I know that they're probably the same. And this is also a 2-ply yarn. It is 100% wool from Peru, I'm pretty sure, and it's from Knit Picks. This is what I used to make my daughter's sweater out of. So let's put them up close and compare them. This is the 2-ply yarn from Knit Picks, the green one. It is not a sock yarn. We can see just from the bumps that it's not tightly plied, and it also looks very loosely spun. Now let's compare that with the sock yarn. We can see the bumps are tighter together. We can see that it's a little bit firmer, and that although they are the same, they are fingering weight, one looks smaller in diameter than the other. Now let's look at this yarn. This is Passionat's yarn. It is 70% superwash merino and 30% silk. And if we're looking, we can see that although it's a fingering weight, it looks very full. And I'm going to take this sock yarn and show you in a comparison, because I don't want to take this out. But we can see that this is a little bit fuller. So maybe the Passionat's yarn was was a low spun yarn with a soft ply, because we can see it's still a little bit full and a little bit luxurious. And this one, not so much. Okay. And let's compare that now with the 2-ply. we can see that, again, the 2-ply knit picks is probably softly spun, softly plied, low spun, but not plied as hard as this one right here. So I just wanted to give you a quick comparison of hand spun. I have 2 different hand spuns here, and we can already almost immediately see that this one is softly spun. Not softly spun. This is a low spun single. This is a little bit higher spun single, but this is a hard ply and this is a softer ply. And that's just what we can tell from that. Also, we can tell that, something that is going to be a high spun single with a hard ply is going to feel a little bit heavier in the hand. And this feels a lot lighter, a lot airier. So those are just some differences that you can tell just immediately. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what the implications of this mean. So let's first talk about low twist singles with a soft ply, or not that much twist added in the ply. And we can see that this is super soft and lovely, but it probably would not be a great idea for something that needs to be hard wearing, such as a sweater or mittens or socks, gloves, things like that. So it's probably better for a shawl. This is a high twist single with a soft ply, or not that much twist added in the ply. And it's more structurally sound. It's probably fine for almost anything except for socks or something super hard wearing like socks or mittens. We have low twist singles here with a hard ply, and honestly, it feels just as delicate as this one up here. So I would say that this can be used for shawls more than anything else. And lastly, we have high twist single with a hard ply, or with a lot of twist added in the ply. And this is one of those yarns that can be used for almost anything that you want to be hard wearing. Probably not amazing for a shawl, but definitely amazing for almost everything else that doesn't have to be delicate. Now, this is just some of what we're talking about. It's not like it's every way that you can spin yarn or every way that you can look at yarn, but it helps inform us when we're buying yarn. So yeah. Okay, so that's my episode. I'm so happy that you joined me today. I hope you learned something. I learned something. I learn something every time. And I'm hoping that you're doing well, sending you lots of good making energy, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. I did it. Did I do it? Did it work? And it worked. Yay.